Far too often, LGBTQ plus business owners believe they have to choose between authenticity and being successful. Through these real life stories, LGBTQ plus listeners aspiring for success can gain valuable insights to navigate their path to being both queer and successful. Hello, everyone. It is me, Hunter J. McNair, your hostess with the mostest, back again for this week's episode of Queer and Successful. Now, this week I am joined by James Shaw. Now, James Shaw is really a powerhouse in the real estate industry within Keller Williams. Him and I are both trainers and speakers. James, similar to myself, have a public-facing community, a private group where people can join membership and learn things at a higher level, similar to the Success Prism Network. And James is like kicking butt, right? He is running a group of 100,000 people, entrepreneurs in the real estate industry. He's got a private group of around 1,300 people, and he is doing amazing things to help people's mindsets, build their worlds, and really about our conversation today, which is all about turning chaos into opportunity. So if you've never heard James Shaw speak, I implore you, take a listen. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I am joined this week with, I would say, a good Judy, a good pal. James, do you know what a good Judy
What
is?
in the world is that?
Okay, so we're going to give you a lesson because I call everyone who comes on a good Judy. So back in the day, Judy Garland was an LGBTQ plus advocate, right? She was very supportive of the community. And so we in our community, to ask people if they were allies and advocates, we would ask them if they were friends with Dorothy. And so we often call each other our good Judys, our good pals, because it references Judy Garland, who was a secret advocate for our community back in the day.
Well, I take it as a compliment,
Yes.
and I appreciate all that you do. And I'm just happy to support you and be with you today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, James. And I was mentioning earlier, everyone, I essentially cornered James in a room at family reunion this year and was like, hey, my people are going to talk to your people and we're going to make this happen. So thank you again for doing this. And really today, what we're going to be talking about is how you've managed to really coin the phrase pivot, right? And this kind of conversation about turning chaos into opportunity. For anyone who doesn't really know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself?
All right, so my name's James, and I've been with Keller Williams 20 years. Next month, June will be my 20th anniversary with Keller Williams, and been in a ton of different seats. I joined as an agent. I've served as a team leader part of the time in the Triangle. I was team leader at Cary Market Center for a while. I've been a bold coach, which is where I met Hunter. I think we did a bold together. I've been a MAPS coach, and then the last 5+ years now, I've led the Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook community. So if you're a member, thank you so much for being part of it. And then I have a private mastermind community that I lead called the Inspire Collective. And I'm master faculty for KWU, so maybe I've done an ALC clinic or something for you sometime. And that's my business story. And then I'm married to my wife, Terry, and we have a 13-year-old daughter named Naomi.
I love it. And we forgot to mention that you made me cry in bold, but
I
that's
did.
not,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I mean, probably. It was the day. It was back when, I was a baby realtor, right?
Yeah.
Baby business owner and sat in my car and cried about calling expireds, probably. But no, I mean, you have done so many amazing things even since then. And it's funny that your anniversary is in June next month. Mine is in June. My 10-year anniversary
Good
is
for
in
you.
June.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So going kind of back to talking about this word pivot, right? It
Yeah.
gets used a lot, especially in times of chaos, right?
Yeah.
How do you define when someone like successfully pivots in business?
I think that we're always doing that, pivoting, shifting, evaluating, whatever word you want to use. I think we're always looking at where are things headed and where are we? I had a conversation with my team today about some stuff that that I said, we want to make sure that we're not losing so slowly we feel like we're winning, which is something I've learned from Gary Keller, that in our world and what I do with our private mastermind and other stuff, things are really good. Our business is good. We're growing. We're helping a lot of people. And I just want to investigate certain pieces of it to make sure that are we really winning at the level that we think? And what changes do we need to make? And we're going to make some changes about how we communicate different things with our group because we want to make sure we're helping people. So I think we're always pivoting and shifting. And this market's forcing you to do that, by the way, is that you don't really have a choice but to pivot and shift and do all the things you've got to do to keep the business flowing. Otherwise, you might wake up and be out.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's fascinating your take on it. And I think, I was having this conversation with my team earlier today because we have a lot of conversations around failing forward, right? And how important failing forward is when we're talking about growth. And so I think you're saying like, hey, like pivoting is kind of the same thing. It's just like it's something that you need to put into your vocabulary and add to a regular routine because we should always be adjusting and accommodating
Yeah.
what you're needing to do. Now, I know you've coached and led through these market shifts, like you alluded to that just now. This market has completely shifted. Realtors,
Mhm.
especially, are having a hard time. I know I saw you commenting and responding to people about listings, having listings or being overwhelmed with listings, etc. What do you think the first step is that someone should take when they feel like the ground is moving beneath them, right? Because sometimes we just like hit this moment where we're like, it hits the fan and it's
Yeah.
like, what do we do? Like, what's the first step that they should do?
Well, I would get in community of others. I think when things get hard, we tend to isolate, we withdraw, we pull back. And then when we suffer, I think when we're struggling is a better word. When we're struggling in something, we forget that other people struggle too with different things. And so this is when community matters, which is why I'm glad you have what you've created. I'm glad that Rainbow Network exists. It's always existed, but now it's real and official and something we can talk about. And so we need to be in that community. You should get in, in your office community. You should be lead generating together. I'd get in, our calls are free, hop on those. But when you go through a sense of struggle, get with other people because we can accomplish a lot more together. What I love about what we do on our call, and if you've ever been on one, we do these every single weekday morning for over 5 years, minus a little break in the fall of 2020. And what I find in there is that the people who participate and show up and are engaged on a regular basis, they struggle, but they don't struggle for as long or struggle as hard because we're communicating and sharing ideas and strategies and systems that work. And we need ideas when we're struggle. Do you ever feel like, Hunter, when things are hard, that you're like, I don't even know what to do? I mean,
Me?
I'm just, I'm sure that, have you ever said that, Hunter?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm not even sure what to do next. Well, that's because you're hanging out by yourself or not talking to the right people. So if we can hang out in a space that is about ideas, solutions, strategies, systems, then I think you can really create some cool things. And my guess is that for many of the people listening and watching, that the last couple of years has felt a little bit like the ground is moving beneath you.
Mhm.
But you can still get grounded in that by being committed to certain activities and doing certain things. You just have to figure out what those are.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting back to the basics. And I mean, we're talking a lot about community, and I think we both know that you are the summary of the people you surround yourself
Yeah,
with,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so, you doing those daily calls, which kudos to you. I mean, I would get up every day and do an 8 a.m. call if I didn't have to wash my hair.
I don't have that problem.
I know you're so lucky.
Mhm.
But having seriously though, like putting yourself in that environment every day is what kind of really keeps you moving in general, and that's been really beneficial for a lot of
I
people.
started it for me. I mean, there's the truth
Yeah.
that I needed something to do because when the pandemic hit, I was coaching Bold at the time, and my Bolds got canceled. There was no Bold to go do, and I started to really get bothered and nervous, and I don't
Yeah.
know, a little emotional. But I was the guy that flew around the country and told people to focus on the plan, not the problem, and keep your emotions between the lines. But I was struggling a little bit. And so that's why I started the call was a place for me mindset wise to be right. But no clue that 5 years later, it'd be part of what I do. And people will ask me, well, how do you do this every day? Well, now it's just what I do. Like I
Right.
just get up and I drive to the office. I get here about 6:15, get stuff together, open the Zoom at 7:30 and do the call at 8, and we're done by 8:20 and then move on to the other things I need to do that day. It's just who I am now, no different than anything else. And it does keep me grounded. There's no doubt about it.
Well, and I always tell people, opportunity comes to those who lead with their mission and their passion.
Hmm.
And I think that you have such a mission and a passion to helping people
Yeah.
that when COVID did hit and there wasn't the opportunity to get in front of the people again, you're like, well, this is my mission and my passion.
Yeah.
Opportunity is going to happen for me because I'm just going to put myself in it. And it's funny you mentioned, that being the reason that you started doing it because with myself and doing a lot of stuff with Rainbow Network here in Queer and Successful, it's always been from that place. It's always been from that place of like, I need this space. And so
Yeah.
I always tell people if you need a space, go create it,
100%. I agree with that.
you know?
Yeah.
Now, obviously you and I would probably agree that every shift brings opportunity. I mean, I think any leader would
I
agree.
will tell you real quick that this is your biggest opportunity because anytime you're in transition, that's when opportunity shows up.
Right.
So seek it 100%.
Well, can you share a time in your life or career that you think led to something better than you maybe expected it? I mean,
Right now.
I
Right
mean, yeah,
now.
right now you're
I
living it,
mean the
right?
the life that I live now is like I don't have Sunday scaries anymore. I enjoy working and coming in and doing things. I've got a team of five. Is it five now? Nadine, Grace, Vicky, Anna, and Julia. Yeah, I get a team of five that I get to work with every day who I get to provide health insurance to and vacation to and I mean and then we're like in the summer, we try to scale it back a little bit because most of us have kids. And so I want them to have their summers with their kids. And we take a full week off at Thanksgiving and we take the 2 weeks between Christmas and New Year's off. And yet we're all still profitable and good things are happening and we're helping people. So now, Hunter, right now, but that came from the decision to create Pivot. When I created it, I did not know it would turn into what it turned into. We have 125,000 people in the Facebook group. We had 1,000 people on my mastermind call this morning with a couple hundred watched on Facebook. And I was looking and there'd been like 900 people who'd already watched the recording of today's call today. So you're looking at 2,000 people impacted within 8 hours of that call being done. That led to the starting of my paid community, which has about 1,300 people in it now. I didn't even want to start it. I had members of Pivot call me and say, we want more stuff with you and we'll pay you if you go create it. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go do that. And now we've had 4 years of that community. Now, but see, the opportunity came from being concerned about what to do next or being worried. But I think you're right about something, and I've not thought of it this way, Hunter, that I am very passionate about trying to help people. That was the team meeting we had today where we're talking about, are we losing so slowly we feel like we're winning? The number one message, I've never looked at like how many members do we have, how many people. I gave you some numbers now because we studied them today, but I don't pay attention to that on a regular basis as to how many people are on the calls, how many people are in the group, how many members are in the private community. The first thing my team will tell you I ask them is, was today's call valuable? Do you think
Mhm.
somebody got something out of today's call? What are we not talking about that we need to be talking about? And I believe that if I provide a bunch of value to people, then they'll show up. And I think that's true for a real estate agent or anybody else. If you provide value, people will show up. Well, the pandemic created an opportunity that I was able to leverage, I guess. I don't know any other word to say. It wasn't purposeful. I just had an idea and said, I want to go help people. I know I'm kind of freaking out, so they're probably freaking out, so I'm going to start a call. Like that was it. And I thought that in the back of a taxi cab in Mazatlan, Mexico on the way to the airport, which is why when I meet people from KW Mexico, they claim Pivot is theirs. They go, you
Oh,
created it in Mexico, so it belongs to Mexico. It's kind of fun. But I mean, it was just an idea, but we ran with it. And it worked. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I don't even know if what we do is the best of all the options out there, but we were first and we've offered value for free for people for over 5 years and it's worked. Now, can I go into another piece of this?
no,
Because
please.
creating Pivot led to other opportunity,
Right.
which is really cool. I had some opportunities in the South Florida region. I live in Tampa Bay area, and I worked as their like an area director for them in the South Florida region. Did that for a while. That led to an opportunity, along with what I was doing in Pivot, to go join KWRI. So I went to KWRI for a little less than a year to be the vice president of learning, which was over all the education at KW. And while I was there, though, I'm still doing the daily call, and I'm kind of have people in Inspire, which is really small, maybe 20 or 30 people at the time. And of course, KW is paying me. I'm getting a salary and benefits to show up and do things, but it wasn't like fueling me. It wasn't my passion. My passion is being on a Zoom like this or in a room with agents and supporting them and helping them, not sitting at KWRI talking about how can we help our people. I
Right.
wanted to get out and help them.
You
And
want
it
to be
took a
led.
while, and I was like, can I turn Pivot and Inspire into something that will help a ton of people and then allow me to meet my own personal goals and my family's goals. And at the time, I had just Nadine working with me, and allow Nadine to reach her financial goals through her job. If I gave this up and went all in on that, would it work? And I debated that for months until finally I said, I'm going to go do it. So I had to resign to Gary Keller. And so I met with Gary and I told him exactly what I told you. I need to be in the field helping people, and I will be your biggest cheerleader. I'll be out there supporting you and rallying people around your mission, but I need to be doing it in the field, not behind the scenes. And he was like, that's totally fine. And so I stepped away. And at the time, I had, I don't know, 20 something, maybe 30 members of Inspire at 99 bucks a month. I mean, you can do the math. Now we have 1,300 people in Inspire at 99 bucks a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
So it's paid off, but I had to bet on me. And I think sometimes when there's a disruption, you have to bet on yourself and you
Mm.
have to be willing to take the risk. I mean, who else better to bet on, honestly, than you? And I think every entrepreneur on here, you bet on yourself at some point. Is it time to bet on yourself again? And that would be my advice is that just bet on you and run with it and see what happens.
Well, that's what we should always be doing. Because if you're not confident in betting in on yourself, why are you putting the hand in? You know what I mean? Like, what,
Right.
learn, if you're going to play the game of life, play the game. Uh,
Yes.
like, what's holding us back? And I think the story you tell about that really exemplifies kind of that life by design that Gary talks about a lot and that Bold taught us, right? Creating this life by design. And do you? And this is not even a question I asked you, but you didn't necessarily see the end in mind, right? You didn't necessarily see going from 30 to 1,300.
Right.
How
Right.
much do you think you believed in it when we're talking about this mindset?
I thought if we could get to a couple of hundred people,
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of the number I had in my mind is get to a couple of hundred people.
Mm.
And I remember I was I'd hired Grace to join my team, who's now my director of ops. So it was Nadine and Grace and me, and then Vicky Lukacic, she was on the research team for the One Thing book, if you're familiar with One Thing book. So she worked on the research team on that book, and I had an opportunity to get in business with her. So we're all meeting, and we had brought in someone to kind of help us figure out who we are and what we were about, because we were very much in startup mode at the time. And so we brought in a woman named Brittany Hodak, who has a book out called Super Fans. It's a really good book. And we brought her in, and she was the first one who was like, you can get to 1,000. And I'm like, please. You know, 1,000 people want to be part of this. It's a call a week, an hour call a week, and it's 99 bucks and 1,000 people. And that was in, I don't know, like the late summer, early fall. And by the end of that year, we were like at 300 or 400. The next year we were at 800, and then it's grown from there. I mean, it's really cool. But it's because I think we just want to help. I mean, that's the bottom line. I don't care how many members there are. I just want to help as many people as we possibly can. That's it.
Yep. Like I said, opportunity comes to those who have the clarity of their mission and their passion,
Yeah.
who lead with that. And
Yeah.
one thing I want to touch on with that and just remind everyone listening is, sometimes even the biggest thinkers and leaders need other big thinkers and leaders to remind them that they're not thinking big enough. Right. So it's fascinating, to hear that you are in this space of I think I can get like 300, I'll be really, really happy. And then someone comes in, actually has this third party look at what you're doing and says, you're not even thinking big enough. And
Yeah.
that,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
cool lesson. One of your big messages in general, right, is about turning chaos not in just an opportunity, but also clarity, right? What tools or habits do you think help you stay grounded, or just people in general stay grounded when everything does feel
I
unpredictable?
think we complicate things, don't need to be complicated. I'm trying to simplify. That's always my goal is
Yeah.
simplify. And in fact, for I've had people tell me that, James, you're no, that's too simple. When we talk about ideas, no, that's too simple. It's more complex than that. And I was like, is it though? Like, is
Mm.
it really more complex?
Like
And
what? Give me an example.
well, I mean, I just think the any I don't know how else to say it, but like people want more listings. It's simple. You just talk to more people. You want more listings, you got to talk to more people and say the right thing and add the right value. It doesn't have to be super complex. We do 2 in-person events a year, and people are like, how do you pull these off without? We don't hire some sort of company to go do them. We create them ourselves, a team of 5 people. These events cost, I don't know, they're not expensive in the event world, but for us, they're expensive. Over $500,000 to put on one event. And then like, how do you pull this stuff off? It's our team. We just know what we want to do. We want to do this, this, and this. I think we need to simplify. I think we can go and simplify. Here's 2 questions you can ask in your business that I think can help you simplify. Number one is, what am I currently doing that if I stopped doing would have 0 impact on my business?
Mm.
So if you just ask yourself that question and reflect on it for a minute, what am I currently doing that if I stopped doing would have 0 impact on my business? I think you'll come up with 2 or 3 things that you go, I don't need to do those anymore. And then you don't have to make it complex. You just stop doing them. Don't do them anymore.
Right.
And then ask the flip side of that question. What am I currently doing? What am I not doing that if I started doing would have a dramatic impact on my business?
Right.
It'll be 2 or 3 things. All of you know what those are right now.
Hmm.
Every single one of you who's listening to this knows exactly 2 or 3 things you are not doing that if you started doing would have a dramatic impact on your business. Those are easy things. But then what you have done is complicated the process of those easy things. So for example, for a real estate agent, well, I really should talk to my database more. That's simple. Yes, Hunter?
Yeah, it's
Let's
really
talk to the
simple.
database more. It's simple. But then what do? We make it complex. Well, what should I say? What am I going to send them? What do we need? How
Or
often should
right.
I talk to them?
Or
I
let
don't
me
want
do
it to be
everything else.
overkill,
Right.
all of these things. And I just go, why don't you pick up the phone,
Hmm.
call 5 people today and say, you know what? I was thinking about you and I just wanted to see how you're doing. That's simple.
Hmm.
And I think if we stack simple on top of simple on top of simple every day, then you'll end up with the result you want. It does not have to be complicated. And this goes into something I talk about a lot,
Mm.
which is getting out of an outcome focused mindset and getting into a process focused mindset. I think we're often measuring our success based on our results. How many leads did I get today? How many appointments did I get today? How many listings did I take today? How many closings do I have coming up? What a blah, blah, blah. I think throw all of that out the window. I don't care how many appointments you had today or how many leads you got today. But I want to know, did you follow your process today? You can't follow a process if you do not have a process. So you have to come up with your process, which could be something like, I want to talk to 5 past clients. I want to text 5 people in my database, and I want to knock on 5 doors. I just made that up. I don't know what your process is. And then every day that I do those 15 contacts, then I have won. The result will come, but I have
Hmm.
to focus on process. That's simple. Does
Well,
that answer your question, Hunter?
yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, you know that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Yeah.
Right. So you can put a number out there, but if you're not doing the work, you're not actually going out there and following the model or a model in general, it's not going to give you the results. I had a conversation with my team today. We had our team meeting today just about like big rocks and small rocks and 80/20 principle and all that fun stuff. And, really, even for the admin team, just really getting clarity on what those big rocks are because, the big rocks being these things that allow us to fill our bucket, right? And not allow us to succeed. And how much are we wasting time, doing email blasts instead of like just talking to people,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. Now, I know that's obviously one of the common mistakes leaders make. They overcomplicate things, and
Yeah.
I'm probably really guilty of that. I'm a big picture thinker and I love puzzles. What else do you think is a common mistake that people make during uncertain times?
When they're in Shift, they talk about this, is that we
Mhm.
will, I'll just pull it up. It's like page 72 or something
You've
like
got
that.
that whole book memorized.
What's that? Jay told me that one time. He's like, you know this book better than me.
I know he wrote it.
Yeah, he wrote it. It's not 72. I got it wrong. It's
I won't tell
yeah,
him.
I'll pull it up. Hold on. It is well, it's chapter 3 and it is 42. Okay, so I
Very
knew there was a
close.
2 in it. 42 and 43.
Yeah.
So shift page 42 to 43 talks about 7 steps to a talent shift. And
Mhm.
one of them that really I think stands out to me is let's see, number one, there's 7 steps. Number one, sit down with your people and share your vision for the business. Tell them the truth about the situation is, where the business is today, and where you see it going. So you have to be honest and transparent, not in denial about the state of your business right now. The next one, number 4, listen, this goes back to what I talked about earlier. Set easy to measure goals, standards, and activities for each person. Be positive and clearly communicate what needs to happen. Easy to measure. That's what? Simple. Has to be simple. Number 5, establish a simple training schedule to make sure everyone knows what to do, how to do it, and what's expected of them. The last one, though, is number 7. Celebrate small victories as well as the big ones. Celebrate individual wins as well as team successes. One thing that like a rainmaker or a leader might do is that they hyper focus in the moment on results,
Yeah.
and they they can destroy their people by being so focused on results. If you have a D behavior, if you're familiar with the DISC behaviors, and I tend to be a D, so we're a driver, we're a bottom line, we're get it done. And when we get stressed in moments of anxiety or stress, we become hyper focused on results. But that's not working. Why don't we have more of these? Let's get this done. Why is this taking so long? And I think what we have to do is slow it down and celebrate even small wins along the way. And again, I'd make those process focused type goals. So, your admin team, you would prefer that they not do the blast text out, but instead talk to people. Well, Hunter, that's easy for you because you can just talk to people. But your admin team doesn't know what that means. They think sending a blast text is talking to people. And
Correct.
so you need clarity around the expectation, clarity around the goal, something you can measure that's process focused, and then celebrate when they accomplish it. Now, in your mind, you're going, well, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. This is the job. Just do what you're supposed to do. But in moments of stress and anxiety and uncertainty and frustration, we need little wins too.
Yeah, and I think that's just a common thing with most entrepreneurs who are that dominant, high D personality, is we have those tendencies to rush through things and to just keep pushing. And, Slow Productivity is an amazing book. I'm sure you've read it. Slow Productivity. No, you should read it.
Nope, gonna pick it up.
You should. Slow productivity really talks about slowing down to speed up, right? And really, if you're not a D, you probably shouldn't read it. As a D, you definitely should read it because it talks about taking that step back, recognizing your people, and I think it's a good reminder to anyone really that you want people to be. You don't want to when you lead someone. Do you lead them by dragging them along, pushing them along, or are you walking with them? Right? We want to make sure they're walking with us. So,
Well, and we all do this. Like, I mean, my
yeah.
team will tell you that I push them, I
Mhm.
drag them, and I walk with them. And I can
A
tell.
little bit of both, a little bit of
Yeah,
all
I can
three.
tell when I do because there'll be times we chat about something and I'm like very wound up and I'm very excitable
Yeah.
and I'm sharing something I'm very passionate about and I go running my mouth about it and then I'm like, so what do you think? And there's nothing back
Right.
because they're like, what just happened? And that happens in my group. So, and they're not going to be ones that are, most of them are not the behavior that's going to come and initiate and push and all that kind of stuff. I need to walk with them, and that's really important.
Yeah, no, we on our team, we're constantly saying clarity is kindness, and we're constantly saying that for me,
Yeah,
because making sure that we are able to communicate with our people at a higher level. I know I use that word a lot, but at a level that not only just like quote unquote gets things done, but lets them know that you're aware that you need to also lead, which is teaching them how to do what you're asking of them as
of
well.
course.
Now, you also walk the walk, right? You talk about all this stuff, and I know you walk the walk. How do you think your personal life shaped all these lessons that you teach everyone?
My wife is one of the most amazing human beings on the planet, and I think that I have the right person next to me to go through this with. So I don't have to put on a show for her. Look, I get frustrated from time to time. There are things that happen in Pivot or Inspire that drive me nuts. There's someone will do something at an event and I'm like, what are they thinking? Or they'll say something on a call. We had something happen on my Pivot call today. I'm like, what was going on there? What was that? Um, and so I can go to her and be authentic about those things. And she, can listen and then, we move on. I think she also will challenge me sometimes. Like, hey, now wait a minute though. You just told everybody on the call to such and such. Shouldn't you do the same thing? So I think having the right people around you is really important because none of us are perfect. I run into the same challenges that I'm coaching against all the time and that everybody else has. So I'm fortunate that my wife will is a good accountability partner on that stuff.
Is she a CS?
She is an SCI behavior. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually Justin. My husband is a CS with some I as well. So that's
Yeah.
kind of fascinating. I
So
call
I'm
him.
fortunate to have her.
Well, yeah,
Because I think we need that accountability. But I also have learned a lot. Like I think used to be somebody that I mean, even back when you saw me in Bold, I was very rigid about how things needed to be done. That we were going to follow the manual, we were going to do it this way, we were going to follow the process, if you will. And I can
exactly.
still be rigid. I get into my idea. I was a news producer before I got in real estate. So I have an idea about how I want things to flow and how I want them to look. And when they get a little bit messy, that can cause some challenges for me. But now, I'm knocking on the door of 50. I'll be 50 in just over 2 years. And I've got a 13-year-old at home and I've been married 15 years. I think I have let go of some of that rigidness that it's just like, just let things flow. They're all going to work out. I mean, if I went from basically losing my job as a bold coach, which is effectively what happened in the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah,
going and creating something that I didn't need to go back to the job I really liked, then it'll all work out.
yeah,
And in the moment, it might feel loud, but it will work out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that, honestly. It's one of those things where as time goes on, I think us type A, super competitive, super determined people, we learn that sometimes it's like not as serious. Like it's not that serious. We need to like let it go sometimes, but
Yeah.
also just remind ourselves of the clarity we need to have to push forward and what
I
really
still struggle with that, by the way. I take things too seriously
matters.
still, but my wife will tell me it's not that serious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, she's your storm chaser.
she is.
Yeah, that's what I call Justin, my storm chaser, because I'm like a little hurricane
Hmm.
rolling through. It's fascinating how I hear a lot of people say as time goes on that they slowly start to take things less seriously. And now that you mention it, I do explicitly remember like you being one of the only bowl coaches who would give people a foul for not journaling every day.
It's in the manual. It
It's
says
in
so
the
in the
book,
manual that if you
we
didn't
gotta
journal, you got a foul.
like everyone pull
But
up
I'll
to.
tell you what's fun about that. We had the bolds that I coached had among the highest contracts per agent each time because I was going to coach to that standard. And when I was working for Diana Kokoska at the time, and she was the one that was teaching us that, and it worked, so we did it. But I think now, if I were coaching bold now, I might be a little less rigid.
Yeah, well, bold has become a little less rigid too now. Have
Yeah,
you taught the newest one or
I
no?
have not. Nope.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Have you taken it?
I've not. It's not been here. It was coming. Molly was going to do it. I was going to take it, and we had Hurricane Milton, and it all got messed up. And so, but if it comes back, I'll be in the room.
I think you would like it. I think
Yeah.
it'd be a good shift for you. Now, anyone who's listening right now is like, okay, I'm stuck. I'm overwhelmed by change. This is all great, but like, what do I need to do like right now? We talked about community. We talked about surrounding ourselves with more people. Like they close their computer right now, right? And they're like, let me get myself up and go
Mhm.
do something.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
There's a book that you all should read uh, that I talk about a lot. It is called The Practice of Groundedness. It's by a guy named Brad Stulberg. We've had Brad at my events. We've had him on our calls. We've had him on all sorts of things. And it goes back to process, which I brought up earlier. I think when people are struggling and they aren't sure what to do, it's because they aren't sure where they're going. Like
Mm,
you don't go to the airport and look at the departure board and then decide where you're going to go on vacation.
yeah.
You figured out where you're going to go on vacation and then you do the research to figure out what do you need. Like, right, we're going to Iceland this summer on a cruise, and I still can't figure out what clothing I need. If anyone's been to Iceland in July and want to send me a message about what specifically I'm supposed to pack, that would be great because I'm still struggling to figure it out. But like you plan it so that then when you go to Iceland for 7 days, you're prepared and you're ready to go. So I think if you're feeling stuck, you don't know where you're going, but you're just driving around endlessly and turning wherever it looks good. So I would pause and I'd go
Mm-hmm.
figure out what's the goal you want to accomplish. And this is what Brad teaches in the practice of groundedness. He says the first thing you do is you set a goal. I don't care what it is. The goal should be your goal. It doesn't even need to be a business related goal or some number of transactions or amount of money. And it doesn't even have to be something that's a year down the road. It could be a weekly goal or a monthly goal. I don't really care, but you figure out the goal. Then
Mm-hmm.
step two is you figure out the steps that are required to reach the goal that are in your control, within your control. What steps that are within your control do you need to do to reach the goal? Then three, forget about the goal and focus on the steps. Once
Right.
you've figured out what those steps are, we know these steps are going to take you to your goal, whatever it is. Forget about the goal and focus on the steps. And then the next day, get up and focus on the steps and move into this process mindset and celebrate that you accomplished whatever steps it was that you said you were going to accomplish that are going to move you toward the goal. Number four, if you start to obsess over the goal or get distracted or get lost or get frustrated, ask yourself this question. What should I be doing right now that will help me get back on the path to achieve my goal? Just what should I be doing when? Right now. It's got to be right now. Because complaining about it and stressing over it are not what you should be doing right now to get you on the path to achieve your goal. So that's, excuse me, I love that book, Practice of Groundedness. Another one that I'd
Yeah.
recommend
I gotta
is,
get these books on my list.
yeah, it's fine. I wrote one down from you. All It
Okay.
Takes Is a Goal by John Acuff. He's become a good friend of our community too. We've had him on a lot. And in All It Takes Is a Goal, he talks about setting easy goals, medium goals, and guaranteed goals. Start with easy. Easy is something you can accomplish in a day or a week. And go bang out some easy goals and get some good stuff done and create a little bit of momentum. I think we need a little bit of momentum in our world. And in fact, that's what we're talking about this week in Pivot Shift Ahead. So if you're listening to it live, you're listening to the recording. I don't know what week you're listening to it, but you can go find our stuff inside of Pivot Shift Ahead. But in Pivot this week, we're doing I'm calling it Momentum Week because I think that some of us are struggling to create momentum in our world. And I came up with 5 ways. I think these are the 5 ways that we slow down our momentum. Number one is we overthink. I talked about being simple earlier, simplifying things earlier. We overthink. Number two, we wait till we feel like we're ready. We see this a lot in this business. If you have, I imagine you have dual career people that listen to this call and they're dual career until they feel like they're ready to be full time, but you're never going to be ready. I remember my mom told me one time and she was like, when are you and Terry going to have kids? And I'm like, when we're ready. And she says, if you wait till you're ready, you'll never have kids. So, we've got one. We're good. One and done. So that's number two. Wait till you feel ready. Number three, you say yes to too many things.
Mm,
And so that causes you to lose momentum. Number four is you get stuck trying to make things perfect.
yeah.
And we follow the perfection trap. And then number five is we avoid the hard things.
Yeah.
So those are the 5 ways we fall off. We overthink, we wait till we feel ready, we say yes to too much, we get stuck trying to make things perfect, and we avoid the hard things. So this week in Pivot, we're looking at the solutions to all of those.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. And I also think we might over analyze the results of any specific time frame.
Mm,
Like we're going to have good weeks and good bad weeks and good days and bad days and good months and bad months. But any one week, month, or day do not make a career. And I interviewed a woman named Alexi Pappas. Alexi is a runner. She ran the 10,000 meters in the Rio Olympics. She's an American, but ran for Greece. And I've interviewed her a couple of times. She's got a book out called Bravey that's really good. I would recommend. And when I interviewed her, she talked about the rule of thirds. She was like, as a runner, her coach taught her this. There's like a third of the time that you're training or your races, a third of your races or a third of your runs are going to be amazing, like unstoppable that day. Like there's nothing that's going to get in your way. And that's a third of them. And a third of them are going to be just okay. Yeah, that was pretty good. And a third of them are going to suck. And he's like, and you just need to know going in that a
Yeah.
third are going to be awesome, a third of them are going to be just okay, and a third of them are going to suck. Well, think about that for a second. That means you're going to have 4 months this year that are going to be amazing, 4 months this year that are going to be okay, and 4 months that are just going to suck. Can I say
Right.
that on your podcast? Because I've said it
Yeah,
three
yeah, yeah,
times.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we embrace this.
Um, all right. So I just have that understanding going in so that we don't get too down on ourselves on the month that stinks, or the week that stinks, or the
Well, you're
day
not
that
focusing
stinks,
on those
because
wins.
some of them are going to stink. Go ahead.
You're not focusing on those wins, like you said, right? Like you got to focus on those wins. And if you're not walking into it just preparing to have a third of it like that, it's gonna upset you. It's gonna slow your momentum. And kind of talking about like what we said about just going back a little bit when we're talking about goals and setting goals and doing all these things. James, do you play darts?
No, I mean, I have played darts, but I
Have
don't
you ever
like
like
every Wednesday night go to the pub and play
yeah,
darts.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the first thing you should do if you want to play a game of darts?
You want to aim above the target.
Okay.
Is that right?
No, there's a step before that.
Oh, what is the step?
You got to put the dartboard up.
Oh, well, there you go.
And so that's the thing, right? People don't think about like when you're talking about where you're moving or what you need to do to change stuff, you've got to put it on the wall, right? We've got to put those things in front of us. And then we can focus on, okay, now I need to line up. Now I need to make sure I'm aiming high to hit the dart, right? Then we can start talking about what are those actionable items to get us going to build that momentum.
Yeah.
And slow momentum, I think, can be, your momentum slowing down can be really easy to happen, right? Like people can so easily lose momentum because they let varying things just constantly get in their way, right? Like market, oh, the market conditions, oh, this listing, 3 years ago, this listing sold in the first 2 hours, and now it's been on the market for 3 days. What am I going to do? You know, they get in this, they get in this mindset, right, where they let those things disrupt them. How would you tell people? Like, what are some practices, like some mindset things to just not let disruption slow them down?
I would say actually let disruption slow you down. I would tell you to let it. I think that you cannot be in momentum all the time.
Yeah,
When you get on a plane, it speeds up, it
yeah,
slows down, it takes off, it lands. You don't just keep going round and
right.
round and round and round and round. Like nothing's, you're not going to be at elite momentum always. So I would actually allow for disruption, and I'd
Mhm.
allow for a reset.
Right.
And then I would, but I don't know how long you want to stay there, but
It's a
I,
balance.
I think that there's too much pressure to constantly always be moving forward, growing and getting better, constantly working. And I'm like, no, actually, maybe you needed a bad month in the business because something was going on with your kid, or something was going on with your mom, or you needed the break. That's okay. The question is not, did you have distraction? The question was, how long was it? Here's a good example. All right. So you go
Yeah.
on vacation. Hunter, you ever been on a vacation?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
not really.
We have found that we like going on Disney cruises. So we have done some Disney cruises. And the coolest thing, Hunter, you ever been on a Disney cruise?
I get seasick, so no.
Okay.
But
Coolest thing about a Disney cruise, if anybody's been on it, 24/7 free ice cream.
what?
Yep. And I've been on, I think we've been on 16 or 17 Disney cruises. We've gone with friends, and we went with a friend one time, and her son, it was a week-long Disney cruise in the Mediterranean, and her son, who's a year younger than Naomi, had 67 ice cream cones in 7 days.
That has to be a record.
It's a lot. That's a lot of ice cream cones. Is that a problem? I don't know. It's vacation. He's 11. Let him have 67 ice cream cones if he didn't get sick. That's no problem. But if he had 67 ice cream cones every week for the rest of his life, that would be a problem.
Mm,
And so I look at our business the same way. Go have 67 ice cream cones one week
right.
in your life. It is a distraction. It's not in alignment probably with what it is you'd like to be doing in your life and the goals that you have for yourself. It's outside of that, but it's okay. And then when you get off the cruise ship, get back into your routine. So if you've had a bad week or a bad month, quit parking in it,
Hmm.
right?
I'm
Quit
sure you.
parking in it and start to make a decision to move forward. But don't beat yourself up over it. You needed it, probably.
Well, I'm sure you've read Atomic Habits, right?
Yes.
And clear. I mean, everyone has. 1% better every day is one thing that he really calls out. Are you kind of like countering that in a way and looking at it like,
So yeah, the challenge I have is I am a do one less, not do just one more.
mm,
I am a maybe you need to slow down instead of always trying to speed up. I think you need to pause and reflect sometimes instead of always asking what can I do to get better.
yeah,
I think it's too much pressure.
yeah,
And I don't agree with it. There was a guy at family reunion one year who was like his whole thing is do just one more. And I
right.
was like, that's the only keynote I ever left in the middle of.
Because like, that's
Um,
a
what's
lot.
that?
Because you're like, that's a lot,
I don't
like,
agree with it. I don't, and
yeah,
everyone's
same.
like clapping and giving him a standing ovation, and it's fine. Look, he's makes a lot more money than me. He'll tell you gladly. And he sold a lot more books than I'll ever sell, and his watch is nicer, and his house is bigger because he talked about all that stuff from stage. And I'm
Love
going,
it.
I don't need to come up there. I don't have some Napoleon complex where I got to come up there and talk about that stuff and tell you to go push harder. No, I'm going to tell you to slow down. I'm going to tell
Was
you
it
to
kind of a
pause for a
short?
minute and reflect. I did this vibe check is what I called it.
Love it.
I posted this a couple weeks ago on my Instagram. I called it a vibe check. 5 questions.
Okay.
Question number one, am I proud of the way I've been showing up?
Mm.
And I'm not, I'm just reading the thing off my Instagram, which is
Yeah,
James
yeah.
D. Shaw, if anybody wants to find it. Am I proud of the way I'm showing up? Not asking if you've been perfect. I'm asking if you've been present. Have you been consistent? Have you been on purpose with purpose? Would you hire you? That's so question number one in this vibe check is, am I proud of the way I've been showing up? Question number two, where is my business actually coming from?
Mm.
Look at the facts, not the feelings, because a lot of people have feelings about where their business is coming from that they don't know. Do your lead gen efforts match your results, and then double down on what's working and get rid of what isn't. That's number two. Number three, what feels heavy and what feels right?
Mm.
And what I ask about that is pay attention to the parts of your business that drain you and the parts that energize you. Can you delegate, automate, or eliminate anything that either isn't getting done or causing you anxiety? Because if you spend a majority of your time working in things that feel right instead of heavy, you'll probably get better results. Number four, if the second half of the year looks like the first half of the year, how will I feel in December? Will you be excited, relieved, disappointed? Whatever that answer is, tells you what action you need to take next.
Yeah.
And then number five, and I brought this one up earlier. What's the one thing that I've been avoiding that I know would move my business forward? You probably already know what it is. It's time to do it. So if you could ask those 5 questions, and none of those are about pushing harder.
Right. I think the thing is that there are so many in business, right? There's just so many shiny objects, whether it be, things that you can pay for, but also just messaging. And I think what everyone should always learn when you're listening to either me or James or anyone is take everything with a grain of salt, right?
Yes.
Like take everything with a grain of salt because sometimes the message is not necessarily for you. Like I
Yeah.
think 1% better works really well for people who are not maybe high D personalities
Well,
who,
I want you to get better. I'm not disagreeing
yeah,
with
yeah,
that, but I also don't want it to be your only focus. I think you need to take
right.
a break every once in a while.
Yeah,
I
you
tell
need to
people all the time you should go to less training.
give yourself grace. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
if you like training, no, we like more training.
No, I want you to go to less training. I'm serious. I want you to go to
Well,
less training. And this
I'm
is
gonna
from someone who this is what I do for a living is
yeah,
training and mentoring and all that stuff. And I want you to go to less of it. You do not need to go to every class in your market center. Go to the ones that are adding value to you as an agent or helping you get more productivity. You don't need to be on every Zoom call. I'm not even on all of my Zoom calls anymore. I won't be on my Inspire call tomorrow because I've got another commitment. So it's just like you don't need to be on all the stuff. But you do want to be on things that are moving you in the right direction. What
correct.
you've created is helping a ton of people, so they should be participating in this and be on it. I would say get on my call is 20 minutes for a reason so that it doesn't take a long time and you can do it on the go.
Right.
If you're still getting ready, just keep your camera off. We've had 7 naked people. We don't need any more naked people on the call.
I
But
like that.
I'm just saying like I do it that way on purpose, but don't go to every training, don't read every book that gets tossed around. You figure out what you need and go pursue that.
Well, I think what you're saying is be really intentional in your growth plan
Hmm.
as much as you should be in your business.
Yes.
Like outline your growth plan. You don't need to be, just like you don't need to do activities that aren't necessarily moving the needle in your business. You don't necessarily need to be loading your calendar down with trainings that are not moving you personally in
Yeah.
your.
Yeah.
So, totally
100%.
get that. As we wrap up, because I want to give some time for Q&A at the
Yeah.
end,
Yeah.
when you look back on everything that you've pivoted through, life, business, etc., what's the one piece of advice that you'd give yourself at the start of your journey?
I'm going to give you two.
I love
All
it.
right. So it's a
Good bonus.
BOGO on advice.
Buy one, get one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a BOGO on advice. The first piece of, I've said both of these things already. The first one is relax.
Yeah.
It's not that important. It's not that big of a deal. Whatever the shift is, isn't forever. You will figure it out. So relax. By the way, when you relax and remove the stress and anxiety, you think clearly.
Yep.
You can think a little bit better. You can see things you wouldn't see otherwise. So that would be step one, relax. Step two, bet on yourself earlier.
Mm.
Just bet on yourself. Like if there's something you want to pursue, pursue it. Go bet on you and figure it out. You don't need to have it all, pink and fluffy and to get it working. You just go and do it. Those are my two pieces. Relax and bet on you.
I love it. That's been amazing. I appreciate everything you've shared today with everyone, James. It's been enlightening, obviously motivational as always. It's great to hear from you, to have more of an in-depth conversation with you about this kind of thing. It's fascinating how you and I don't get as much time to talk together, but I think we have a lot of similar ways that we process this information. So
Hmm.
thank you for reinforcing that as well.
Yeah,
I
my
I,
pleasure.
I appreciate you being here. Thanks for listening today, friends. If you enjoyed this call, do not forget to join Queer and Successful, the community on Facebook, as well as register to participate in these calls live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern at successfulcall.com. See you next time. Bye.